Quick curveball, Meat Boy, and the only reason I'm throwing this down on you without any prep is because it's something that we have always done at Meat Boy MMA. This Friday night, the evening before MSG, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Can I get your quick prediction on whether Jake Paul continues to get these fights done? Is it rigged? I mean, he's 10-1. He just beat Mike Perry most recently in a sixth round TKO. He's taking on Mike Tyson, obviously a legend, one of the goats, but the dude is close to 60 years old. You taking Jake Paul to keep the gravy train alive, or is Iron Mike Tyson like Iron Mike Chandler the night after picking up a finish over Jake Paul?
We are in November. We're getting close to December, which that is Christmas. And, when you're talking to Santa trying to buy that merch, you got to ride with Jake Paul because Jake Paul is going to absolutely knock out Mike Tyson. If Mike Tyson wins, I'm going reverse Uno card on everybody that says it's rigged. It's rigged if Mike Tyson wins because the fact that Mike Tyson's 70 years old and people think that he's going to beat a 20-year-old kid that somewhat is pretty good, has good power. His size is there. He's a big kid, and he's been putting in the work. It's just like I don't know. Maybe you guys forgot it's 2024 and not 1984. I'm not too sure, but yeah, this is gonna be a buy that merch. The Jake Paulers are definitely balling out this week, and it should be a funny fight. Jake's been doing some weird, funny stuff recently, and I think it's gonna be a very sad thing to see because you hate to see a legend like the Iron Mike Tyson to go out versus a kid that was a Vine kid and picking his boogers just a couple years ago. But you gotta respect Jake. He's probably gonna knock him out. It's make him looking good, and it should be an entertaining fight nonetheless.
Yeah, a lot of great points. Mike Tyson, the last time he did get knocked out was in a real fight against Danny Williams, and that was way back in 2004. So, fast forward 20 years later, is Jake Paul going to be the next one to absolutely sleep Mike Tyson? Or, Uno reverse card, like you said, is Mike Tyson coming through for the YOLO victory in this one against Jake Paul? But Tapology is pretty bullish on Jake Paul. They're taking the problem child 66%, only 34% is going with Mike Tyson. But of all the Tyson backers, it's all Brown for the KO. So do you agree that if Mike Tyson picks this one up somehow, that he gets a KO? Is there any world where Mike Tyson decisions Jake Paul? I mean, these sentences seemingly should never be uttered, but this is where we're at in 2024. So give me your best pathway for Tyson if there is one.
Yeah, I mean, best pathway for Tyson, I guess, is to out whimsical him. I'm not even sure what that means, but let's just roll with that. Where I think he's just gonna, veteran him, where he's got the experience, he's got little tricks up his sleeves. It's like when you're playing, I don't know, ping pong or pickleball versus a dude that's 80 and he just smokes you. It's like, how? I'm way more athletic, I'm way stronger, I'm way faster, but they just understand the game better. So that's the only way I see Mike maybe winning. But I don't know. If they trade blow for blow, I gotta imagine that Jake Paul's probably gonna win you know, the street fight exchange. And I mean, Mike Tyson's like 7 years old. There's just I don't know. Unless he's on all the drugs in the world, which he might be, we might see an OG Mike Tyson, which would be sick. But then again, they're all on drugs, they're all cheating on steroids. So is it even a real fight or is it just rigged, a money grab like normal?
There's a lot of question marks for sure surrounding this entire operation, but the train continues. And against Mike Tyson, first of all, the odds minus 130 is Jake Paul, plus 240 is Mike Tyson. I feel like those are kind of juicy odds for Mike Tyson. However, I got to take Jake Paul. Whenever I fade Jake Paul, he goes out there and makes easy to light work. And officially, Mike Tyson's 58. I described him as 60, you 70. Jake Paul is 27, so not quite 20, but it's still 27-year-old versus 58-year-old. And even if it's a former legend, a former GOAT, against a kid who's in his athletic prime, who, like you said, has devoted a lot of time, essentially the last 5 to 7 years of his life, perfecting his craft. Gotta imagine just the sheer athleticism and enough devotion will be just enough to take out a 58-year-old man. And real quick, shout out to Jake Paul, right? I mean, if we rewind to our earliest Jake Paul breakdowns, It was definitely not slanderous, but I wouldn't say that we were as complimentary about Jake Paul. I definitely wasn't at the time. Whereas, fast forward 5 years and younger brother Jake Paul, a way cooler, way better representation of that family than Logan Paul, who is kind of a dork. But any last thoughts on Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? And if it's Mike Tyson getting slept, is it early, like early couple first rounds?
No, they got to put a show on. They got to make sure the Netflix subscribers get what they're paid for. That's also an interesting thing about this event is that Netflix hosting like it's got to be a show, right? If it ends in 2 seconds, then why are we subscribed to Netflix? So we want to see at least 3 to 5 rounds before somebody probably gets knocked out. If it happens first, second round, like that would just be crazy and a testament that it's probably not rigged. If it happens in the 6 to 8 round and Mike wins, definitely rigged. If Jake Paul wins 6 8 round, it's probably legit. But I'm excited to see so far from what I've accumulated. No Jake Paul fight has ever been rigged. I've watched them all. I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm just a realist. And anyone that says they are rigged or fake are just complete haters and disrespect the skill set or the game of boxing, or they just don't understand it. I'm not too sure. But this will be an interesting one. I'm skeptical that it's Mike Tyson. I'm skeptical that it's on Netflix, and I'm skeptical that people think Mike Tyson's gonna win. So if Mike Tyson wins, like the draw versus him and Roy Jones Jr., even though that wasn't a draw at all, it wouldn't surprise me if a draw happens, or if they just give it to Mike, just because even if it was a closer fight to Jake, maybe they just give it to Mike. 'Cause it's like, oh, like Mike's the legend, you can't just like not let him win. Like we gotta pump him up. Like who knows? It'll be very interesting. Should be fun though. I'm actually really excited for this. I think there's actually some pretty good fights before them. It's probably the coolest or best boxing bout put on ever beyond like a Canelo fight, but like name one fighter that's below Canelo, like on that card. No one knows, right? So it's always a cash grab with those guys. This seems like they're actually trying to like get a bunch of, Manny Serrano and a bunch of these up and comers that are pretty darn slick in boxing, where they're trying to get them all paid, which is pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of great points for sure. I'm especially curious to see what Netflix production looks like. I mean, the live event for the comedy roast, Tom Brady, was pretty successful. This is another live event, obviously not quite a comedy event, but I'm curious to see what the fight production looks like. I mean, boxing production across the board is a pretty rough watch, so perhaps this is Netflix opportunity to do it the right way until Dana eventually makes UFC boxing and basically shows everyone what a cleanly produced spectacle does actually look like. But nonetheless, in this one, you mentioned the card. It's not that stacked, to be honest with you. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano's the co-meet event, and then you got Niraj Goyat taking on your boy Whimsical Winderson Nunes. So perhaps Whimsical Winderson gets that one done. Perhaps Mike Tyson. I think you were trying to say outwits Jake Paul, but maybe he simply does out whimsical him. And nonetheless, though, I'm not buying it. I'm taking Jake Paul. I'm with you all the way, obviously. Go ask 10 of your friends, though, Meat Boys. Casual fight fans, casual boxing fans, casual combat sports observers. If they're taking Jake Paul or Mike Tyson, and guarantee you about half of them at least are taking Mike Tyson. So to answer your question of who's taking Mike Tyson, all the casuals, essentially. The hardcores, those paying attention, those us, including us, we're taking Jake Paul. Any last thoughts, Meat Boy? By the way, if you are just checking out this Jake Paul breakdown, go look at our UFC 309 breakdowns. We have all sorts of locks. But any last thoughts on Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, Meat Boy?
No, I mean I've been riding Jake Paul since day one. He's won them all except Tommy Fumble Fury, and that just showed the levels where Jake Paul needs to get, which I think he would win that rematch. But Jake Paul's probably winning this one. Whenever he fights another Fury or somebody that's like a legit boxer his age, I think it'll go a little different or be closer. But so far, he's just been smoking all of these guys. He's a business guy. He knows what's up. And Tommy Fury's really bad, but Jake Paul's only been boxing for like 2 years versus that guy's been boxing his whole life. Jake's gonna keep doing the shenanigans. It's a smart business move. Fight all these UFC legends. Fight these 80-year-olds, or I guess technically 50, but let's just call them 80 for more dramatic effect. Mike Tyson legends. I mean, next is probably Holyfield for Jake, and then probably chuck the Iceman. That would be the next smart move. It'll probably happen, and I'll definitely watch, and probably you guys will too.
Yeah, we'll be tuned in for sure. Let us know in the comments. Are you taking Mike Tyson? Are you a casual or are you rolling Jake Paul? Let us know for sure.